A deep appreciation for the great songs before 1920, an era when the phonograph was merely a household novelty, shaped the foundation of music history. Legendary voices like Billy Murray, Henry Burr, Byron G. Harlan, Irving Kaufman, and Arthur Fields dominated the era long before the Roaring Twenties. In 1969, before an audience of 45 million, he married a 17-year-old girl on The Tonight Show, but that was only the beginning of Tiny Tim's bizarre downfall. Tiny Tim, born Herbert Boutros Khoury on April 12, 1932 in Manhattan, grew up in Washington Heights with his Lebanese father and Polish-Jewish mother. While other kids played outside, he was obsessed with music. At 5, a wind-up gramophone and a Henry Burr record changed his world. He played it endlessly, captivated by its emotion. This early passion set him on an unusual path, one that led to fame, controversy, and a shocking downfall they never wanted you to hear. By 6, Herbert Khoury taught himself guitar, but his true passion emerged when he heard Arthur Godfrey play the ukulele. While other kids followed trends, he spent hours at the New York Public Library studying early 1900s music. School never interested him, and after struggling at George Washington High School, he dropped out. Music was all that mattered. Inspired by 1920s crooner Rudy Valley, he developed his signature falsetto, a style he saw as a spiritual awakening. Seeking a standout identity, he tried stage names like Larry Love and Sir Timothy Timmons, but none brought success until Tiny Tim. Then, in 1960, his manager suggested a name that was simple yet ironic, Tiny Tim. Borrowed from the fragile yet hopeful character in A Christmas Carol, it was an odd choice for a man standing 6'1", but somehow it worked. With his new name, Tiny Tim embraced an eccentric identity: long hair, bright clothes, and powdered skin. His falsetto voice and ukulele set him apart, but success didn't come easy. In the late 1950s, he performed at Hubert's Museum, a Times Square sideshow where he was dubbed the Human Canary. Struggling to be taken seriously, he moved to Greenwich Village, playing small clubs under various stage names. His breakthrough came in 1963 at Page 3, a club that welcomed his odd charm. By 1968, he stunned audiences on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In with Tiptoe Through the Tulips, turning him into an overnight sensation. Though TV executives were skeptical, his unique persona captivated the era's embrace of individuality. Tiny Tim's success on Laugh-In landed him a record deal with Reprise Records. In April 1968, he released God Bless Tiny Tim, a mix of old Tin Pan Alley songs, vaudeville tunes, and originals. Produced by Richard Perry, the album featured lush orchestration and included Tiptoe Through the Tulips, which became a surprise hit, reaching number 1, 17 on the Billboard Hot 100. His eccentric style divided critics, but audiences loved him. He became a regular on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, appearing over 20 times. His unpredictable charm fascinated viewers, and in 1969, he made TV history by marrying Miss Vicky live on the show, drawing 45 million viewers, second only to the moon landing. By the mid-1970s, as musical tastes shifted, his fame faded, but his mark on pop culture remained. Tiny Tim's wedding to Miss Vicky on The Tonight Show was a massive event, with 45 million viewers tuning in. Carson toasted them with milk and honey, as requested. Though their marriage ended after 8 years, it remained a historic TV moment. Carson respected Tiny Tim's deep knowledge of early 20th century music and let him share it with audiences. Though often seen as a novelty, he was never ridiculed. By the late 1970s, his mainstream career faded. Dropped by Reprise Records, he launched his own labels, Victim Records and later Toilet Records, both unsuccessful. He found work in unexpected places, from punk clubs to circus tours, embracing his cult status. His career took bizarre turns, including the controversial Santa Claus Has Got the AIDS This Year, and starring as a creepy clown in the 1987 slasher Blood Harvest. Though his fame declined, he remained one of entertainment's most eccentric figures. Tiny Tim's high-pitched voice and love for old songs made him famous, but his personal life was even stranger. He had extreme hygiene habits, showering up to 6 times a day and only using disposable paper towels. He brushed his teeth with 3 different brands and spent recklessly on cosmetics, fascinated by beauty. His quirks extended to food. He once ordered everything on a hotel menu just to arrange it artistically, never taking a bite. He also avoided eating in front of others, preferring to pretend he was hosting a grand dinner party alone. His most famous relationship was with Miss Vicky, whom he married on The Tonight Show in 1969, in a ceremony watched by 45 million people. Their 20-year age gap caused controversy, and their marriage quickly fell apart. They had a daughter, Tulip Victoria, before divorcing in 1977. Tiny Tim later married twice more, but neither marriage lasted. His unpredictable behavior and obsession with his career often got in the way of stability. Tiny Tim's third wife, Susan Marie Gardner, Miss Sue, had been a fan since childhood. They married in 1995. Despite his unconventional views on commitment, on his wedding night with Miss Vicky, he had openly planned to see other women. His passion for performing never faded, even as his health declined. On September 28, 1996, he collapsed on stage during a show in Massachusetts and spent 11 days in intensive care. With severe heart issues and diabetes, doctors urged him to stop performing, but he refused. 2 months later, on November 30th, he took the stage at a benefit concert in Minneapolis. Struggling to stand, he pushed through a few songs before collapsing while performing Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Paramedics rushed to his aid, but his final performance had come to an end. Tiny Tim was rushed to Hennepin County Medical Center, where doctors tried for over an hour to revive him. At 11:20 p.m. on November 30th, 1996, he was pronounced dead from cardiac arrest. His wife, Susan, later said his final moments were peaceful, with applause as the last thing he heard. Music defined Tiny Tim's life, and Tiptoe Through the Tulips became his signature song. Originally a romantic 1929 hit by Nick Lucas, it was a cheerful tune of the Roaring Twenties. But in 1968, Tiny Tim's high-pitched falsetto and ukulele transformed it into something entirely unexpected, securing his place in pop culture history.